Let me simply introduce the mayor who has been largely responsible for the phenomenal economic renaissance and physical infrastructure improvements that have truly made Providence and will make Providence one of America's most exciting and promising communities, Mayor Vincent CIANCI.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction, Jim. I don't think anybody has ever introduced me like Jim has. But it's a pleasure to be here, to be with such a distinguished group of people, especially a great distinguished bishop and a great distinguished rabbi. As a matter of fact, I was talking to Rabbi Gutterman, and he said that he would have been a Catholic priest, but he just didn't like to drink that early in the morning. But he needs guidance too. He also told me that this place has raised a lot of money and that they just auctioned my car off outside. But it's a pleasure to be here. It's a very important day for me and the city of Providence because I've lost my 39th pound. I want everybody to give me a hand. And you're right, Jim Hagan. I am available, that's for sure. I'm honored to be with all of you this evening and with Father Smith, who has done a great job in explaining the relationship that Providence College has with the city of Providence. And we've had a wonderful relationship because we've only known each other for about 2 weeks. But I'm sure that it will continue to be the kind of relationship that we really all have enjoyed with the great college that we have here in the city of Providence, which really has a great name, Providence. I wanted to be here tonight to celebrate the work of John Fogarty and to honor individuals in our community who have done so much to make our community better. Really, when you think of a community, you think of an organization like John Fogarty Foundation, you think of great history, you think of great pride, you think of great awareness to the social problems and the medical problems of America. And isn't it wonderful that we all can gather here so many years after John Fogarty died and passed on to honor what he stood for and honor what he did and what a wonderful legacy he left for us all to be gathered here so many years later. I remember when John Fogarty died. I was in the Army, and I was at Fort Gordon, Georgia in basic training and listening to the news, and I found out that John Fogarty had passed on. It was amazing that people from all over the country who I was in basic training with knew the name John Fogarty, and they knew what he meant, and they knew what he stood for. And I guess that's why we're here some 3 decades later, celebrating his life, celebrating his legacy, and celebrating what he has meant to so many people even after he had passed on. So what this really is a celebration of his life and his work, his dedication, his principles, and he lives on even today, affecting thousands and millions of Americans. I'd also like to say that we have this evening so many distinguished people who are in this audience. And in an election year, it's so nice for me to be with so many insiders. I like that. And as I look around, I see this wonderful arena. I have never spoken on a track before, but I guess I'm on a running track right now. But as you look around this room, we see you. And we see all of you who we, as involved in the community, can depend upon. You are the ones who are always there to carry on the legacy of John Fogarty. You are always there to understand the problems of the inner city. You are always there with your checkbooks, but you're always there with your work. You almost can pick out the people in a city or in a state who are there because they have a community responsibility. And we celebrate you tonight as well as we celebrate those who we are honoring. You are the ones who make our state work. You are the ones who raise the money to give to various organizations that really affect our retarded citizens. And those people are just as much a citizen of the state of Rhode Island and the country as we are. In fact, maybe more so. They're special people whom we have a special obligation to. And we could be somewhere else tonight. You could be somewhere else tonight, but you've chosen to be here. Now, Father Smith, I don't want to tell you that this isn't the most elegant dining room in Rhode Island. I think it is. I always like to have dinner on a basketball court. But the fact of the matter is, isn't this what community is about? We have a wonderful college that does such great things, lending its facility to a wonderful organization that has a national impact to help people who are as fortunate as we are, but perhaps less endowed in some ways. So you are to be commended for being here. So we have institutions who respond to the well-being of our entire society. And then we have the honorees who are here this evening, who have been special people because they have gone far and beyond the call of duty. They have been the ones who have been honored this evening because they have been the ones who have given more than others. And so tonight, we honor an organization that started with a small token of $8,500 from the Joseph P. Kennedy Foundation back, I believe, in 1964, that now has grown to an organization that gives out some $750,000 to those causes that are so important. And we join with the Rhode Island Association for Retarded Citizens, the Rhode Island Special Olympics, the Child Development Center, in giving a commitment to those that are mentally retarded throughout the nation and Rhode Island. And each one of these award recipients has been a positive influence on the Fogarty Foundation, contributing in an effective individual way to the betterment of this foundation and its mission. The City of Providence, I must add, also has recognized this responsibility and shown its direct support of the cause by contributing to ARC. And since 1992, we in the City of Providence have contributed to that organization substantial sums of money to defray costs incurred in its conventions and other meetings. Promoting research and care for mentally retarded is a noble cause, and one that everyone here clearly supports with both individual effort and through teamwork. So I want to take this opportunity to honor each one of these individuals tonight, who may not be from the City of Providence, but whose heart or roots were in the City of Providence. And that's Jim Skeffington and Richard Oster, Christopher Burke, who deserves a special note of attention tonight because of what he has achieved nationally, and Bill Nero and Arthur North. You all know who they are. You have your programs in front of you. And all I say is, thank God for John Fogarty. Thank God for his legacy. And God bless the people tonight who have gone far and beyond the call of duty, who are at this head table, with the exception of me, who are being honored. And all of you for participating in a cause to help others who so dearly need your help. It's a pleasure to bring the greetings of all the people of the City of Providence to you tonight, to say congratulations to our recipients, and to tell you that I will see you here all next year as mayor. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please recognize the very distinguished Reverend Philip A. Smith, OP, PhD, the President of Providence College.
Thank you for the applause. It's really nice in this job because you're never sure how long it's going to last. And Jim mentioned that I was going to be inaugurated on the 28th of October, and in the Catholic liturgical year, that's the Feast of St. Jude, the patron saint of hopeless causes. So I don't know what that means. In any case, I'm delighted to be here tonight, and one of the joys of being president is welcoming a group like you to Providence College. You've been welcome here at any time, but we're particularly glad that you can be here this evening to celebrate the Johnny Fogarty Awards Dinner. I have never had the pleasure of meeting John Fogarty, but from what I hear, the list of his achievements is legendary. But in my judgment, none of his achievements is more important than his work on behalf of the mentally retarded. And the mentally retarded is very close to my heart. I have a niece who is mentally retarded. And she is a very special person with very special problems and needs very special care. And for her to realize her potential, she needed love, she needed medical skill, and she needed financial assistance. She had people to give her love. She had people with medical skills, but she needed financial assistance from a lot of groups in order to develop as much as she could and have her potential realized. And that is why the Fogarty Foundation for the Mentally Retarded is so important. The money that you raise and the grants that you award enable research to continue into the causes of mental retardation and enables the victims of mental retardation to be treated today. And it's an extraordinary thing that you do. And on behalf of the college, I'm delighted that we can share our facilities with you so that that cause can continue. And from a Christian perspective, this is not just some casual thing. It is right at the very heart of the Christian message and of the command of Jesus to love one another. Jesus told us that it is the weak and the defenseless, those whose grasp on life is most fragile. Those are our brothers and sisters in greatest needs and the ones who make the greatest claim upon our love. And he told us this as not some casual kind of ethical suggestion, but as a moral imperative, something we must do. And those who are mentally retarded are certainly those who are the weakest among us and make the greatest claim upon our love. So I am delighted that you can be here and that you are expressing in a concrete way what it means to care for those and to provide them with an opportunity to become the best kind of person they can be and to fulfill themselves as well as they can. So thanks so much for coming. Have a good time, and I'll see some of you later.
Thank you, Father Smith. Seated at this very distinguished head table are some of this country's most respected and philanthropic community leaders. People like Arthur North, whose dedication to promoting the welfare of mentally retarded and developmentally disordered people is well known. Chris Burke, in the audience with his parents, known to most of us as Corky from the hit TV series Life Goes On. Bill Nero, the former Vice President and Chief Administrative and Development Officer here at Providence College, who has done so much behind the scenes without recognition and without ever saying no to anyone who asked his help. He is a great friend and a terrific advocate for the mentally disabled. I know my brother Joe, the president of Assumption College, and his wife have come down from Worcester tonight to pay tribute to Bill. Bill, by the way, would you stand up for 1 minute? Doesn't he look pretty? Frank, when I came in here tonight, I thought he was the maitre d' at the Aurora Club. Richard Oster, the chairman of the multi-billion-dollar Cookson Group and community leader par excellence, will tonight receive the Fogarty Foundation's Leadership Award for his personal contribution to the local, national, and international communities. And I do have a telegram that we received directed to Mr. Oster, and it is from someone very well-known person in the state by the name of Arlene Violet. Mr. Oster, spelled M-I-S-T-A. You know, she says that, Mr. Oster. Nice job on the convention center. Stop. Didn't you forget something? Stop. Like booking conventions. Stop. How about making it a casino? Stop. Jim Gappington could bond it. Stop. Mr. Oster, rumors abound that you aspire to someday be a United States Senator. But let me tell you what I think. I visited Lilymere, your magnificent compound in South Kingstown, and noticed a display of teepees, wigwams, and other Indian paraphernalia And for those of you who've been out there, you have seen this. Could this, Mr. Asta, be the start of a new Indian nation? I mean, why start as a United States Senator when you can become president of your own country, Mr. Asta? Our final honoree this evening is longtime Fogarty Foundation Chair, Jimmy Skeffington. Jimmy is a man who has been deeply committed to helping retarded citizens. Regarded as one of the most respected members of the bar, Jim's advice has been sought by governors, mayors, presidents of universities, hospitals, and heads of both public and privately held corporations. The only people who don't seek his advice are Mary Ann Sorrentino and Arlene Violet. And I also have a telegram from Arlene Violet to Jim Skeffington. Mr. Skeffington. You know, she doesn't say congratulations, she says congrats. Congrats on raising all that money for the Fogarty Foundation. Stop. But why did you have to do it with state-backed bonds? Stop. Mr. Skeffington, you have more inside connections than the entire regional switchboard at NYNEX. So why don't you do something nice for me? Stop. Make me a judge. Make me a Supreme Court judge. If you do, I won't badmouth you anymore on my radio show. Stop. If you don't, beware, O bonding great one. Me, Ali, am going to make your life miserable. Love, Ali. At this time, I would like to introduce the man I referred to earlier, the chairman of the Fogarty Foundation, Joe Beretta Jr.'s uncle, Uncle Norman Beretta.
Thank you very much, Jim. It gives me, first of all, I'd like to welcome you all here. I think that it's just overwhelming, the people that took the time this evening to come to support our foundation, which tries to serve as many as we can of the mentally retarded in the state of Rhode Island. And it's just a tremendous tribute that all of you would take that time to come. And we of the foundation appreciate it very much. I will get on with our award ceremony. And our first recipient is Arthur North. I would like, Arthur, if you would come up, I would like at this time if I could introduce Arthur's wife, Edna. Edna, would you please stand? Thank you. Arthur is a true friend of our retarded citizens, and the Fogarty Foundation is honored to present the humanitarian award to him. Dedication to mentally retarded has been his life. He's a graduate of Manhattan College and Rhode Island College. Arthur began his service to the retarded in the 1960s. Formation of the Newport chapter for retarded citizens summer camp program. Full-time volunteer advocate for mentally retarded children, adults, and senior citizens. He works tirelessly to find solutions to their problems. He is actively involved on local and national issues with ARC. He has served on the executive committee of the Rhode Island ARC. He served in Newport County ARC as their president and a member of the board of directors. The Fogarty Foundation is honored to present the Public Service Award to Arthur S. North for his tireless dedication to people with differing abilities and developmental disabilities. Arthur, congratulations.
Good evening. Tonight, I can't do what I've been trying to do without a lot of help, and I really feel that there are some people that I should thank. First of all, I'm really appreciative of the Fogarty Foundation's award, and I thank them very much for that. I further thank some of my colleagues and my friends in the ARCs, and especially in the Newport County ARC, for making it possible to do these various things. I also want you people to be aware that I want to thank the people in the public agencies in the state, and they're quite maligned if you read the paper. But without them, and as long as they answer my telephone calls, really, it's vital to the whole operation. One of the things I just wanted to mention tonight is that some people ask how I got into this. Well, I applied for an exchange teacher's job in Germany in 1968, and I made the finals, but somebody else got it, and it was June, and I had no place to go except going to the beaches and sailing. And a friend of mine said, well, I was getting tired, and she said, why don't you go down to the Maha Center summer camp and volunteer? That was in 1968. And here I am today, and I didn't realize that I was picking up another career. It's been very edifying and gratifying to be a part or have to see what has transpired since 1968 to the present time. We have come a long way. We've made many epoch-like changes, and we still have many more to go. I am particularly interested in, it goes from the 2.5-year-old kids to the people that we now have out in employment. And it's come to the point now where we do not have that many helpless people out there. And I often think, and I'll finish with this, that I don't know who said it, I'm not going to attest to the person that did, but one time this woman was crying when she saw some person with mental retardation. And the person looked at her and said, put away your handkerchief. I'm a lot more like you than you know. Thank you.
Thank you, Arthur, very much. Bill Nero, a dear friend. I'd like at this time to introduce Bill's wife, Ann. Ann, would you stand up, please? Bill began his career here. Bill was a graduate of Providence College. Bill has been involved in public relations, fundraising, and that's why we brought him on the foundation, really. Businessman, Bill is a leader. Bill has led the PC Development Office to programs that realized $50 million for Providence College. Bill was very, very instrumental in building the President's Council up to what it is today. He's given his time and his effort to many, many, many organizations. His church, the Diocese of Providence, Elks, Knights of Columbus, LaSalle Academy, Christian Brothers, United Way, Chamber of Commerce. Bill currently serves as the president of this foundation. What do you say? Bill and I are very, very close. We've worked together here at the college. I've been on committees with Bill when Bill was, well, we have to go back when he was Vice President of Alumni Development. And then after becoming Vice President of Business Affairs. Dedicated person, loved his job, loved the college. He's a good family man. I don't know what else you can say. about the real, true spirit of someone who wants to help people. He openly came into this foundation to help us out. He's done a superb job. And it's with great pride this evening that as chairman to present Bill with the Distinguished Service Award of the Fogarty Foundation.
Thank you, Norman. When I first learned that I would receive this award, there were a number of feelings that set in. First of all, I think there was a feeling of pride and satisfaction. But that satisfaction and pride quickly turned to humility. I looked around and saw the other people that would be sharing the rostrum with me this evening. They're all giants. Look at people like Arthur North, Chris Burke, Jimmy Skeffington, and Dickie Oster, and the help that they've given to the foundation over the years. It made my contribution seem quite small. Another thing which really led to my humility is when I think back of all the support and the wonderful friends I've had over the years. And whatever I've achieved, I certainly couldn't do that without my family, my loving wife Ann, and all my friends. They've made my life worthwhile. At Providence College, it was a joy to be here for all of these years and to have the support and the good friendship of the Dominican fathers and someone like Father Smith, who is not really new on the scene. He's been here in spirit for a long time and did spend several years at the college before. Under Father Smith, I'm sure that the college will grow and become an even greater institution in the years that lie ahead. One of the other things that makes me feel humble is when I've traveled around to the different centers in the state and see the gigantic strides that people who are less fortunate than ourselves have taken and the accomplishments that they've made, starting out without the advantages that many of us have had. One other thing I think that really makes me feel humble tonight is when I look out at this audience and I see a lot of faces who have supported this organization for many, many years. And I think this is the largest crowd that we've ever had. I know we sold many more tickets to this evening's affair than we ever have in the past. This is something which really does a lot of good, not only for me, but certainly will yield many dividends for the Fogarty Foundation. To each of you here this evening, and to all who played a role in my life, I thank you most sincerely.
Thank you, Bill. Chris Burke. Chris, would you like to come up with me? Thank you. Hey, Chris. I would like at this time to introduce Chris's mom and dad, Marion and Frank Burke. Can you please stand? Chris, the Humanitarian Award. Your exemplary commitment to helping the handicapped and your advocacy for people with Down syndrome, the Fogarty Foundation is pleased to present you with the Humanitarian Award. Chris is known to most as Corky from hit TV series Life Goes On. Chris was born with Down syndrome. He also was born with faith in himself from his beginning, and he's proved that in the success of his life. He first appeared on TV in 1987. His acting career includes appearances in Jonathan, The Boy Nobody Wanted, Heaven and Hell, and many other public appearances. Chris is currently working for the National Down Syndrome Society as editor for their newsletter. Chris has also been a national spokesperson, Chris. Probably both sales and spokesperson, right? For the people with Down syndrome. Chris is also involved with the National Down Syndrome Congress and the McDonald's McJobs program. Chris has co-authored books. He's recorded children's tapes. Chris's honors include 10 Outstanding Faces. He's been a nominee for the Golden Globe Award, a nominee for the Golden Apple Award, a nominee for 10 Outstanding Young Americans, and most recently, he was an honoree for the National Rehabilitation Hospital. I want to say, before I give you this award, Chris, I would like at this time to introduce one of our officers of the foundation, Judy Rector, who's sitting there with you. And Judy has been very, very instrumental in having you here, and we appreciate her effort for doing that and for having you here. It's truly with great pride and admiration for you, Chris, that the Fogarty Foundation is bestowing upon you the Humanitarian Award for your courage and accomplishments. Chris, congratulations.
Thank you. I am proud to receive this award. John Fogarty worked very hard to assist the challenged. And this association is fulfilling all his dreams. Since I was little, I have wanted to be an actor and also to help the handicapped. A lot of people didn't think a person with Down syndrome could do that, but I knew I could. Determination is the key to success. I hope that my work will make a difference in how people feel about those who have mental retardation. Maybe if the public sees what can be accomplished, they will begin to look more at a person's abilities instead of disabilities. I thank you very much.
The first Fogarty Foundation Leadership Award was presented in 1964 to no other than Congressman Johnny Fogarty. There is no one in Rhode Island who more clearly exhibits the leadership qualities which this award was intended to celebrate than Richard Oster. Born and raised in Rhode Island, Richard Oster has excelled in whatever task he has undertaken. An outstanding student athlete at Moses Brown and the University of Rhode Island, Mr. Oster honed his business skills under the watchful eyes of his grandfather and father. Together, they created one of the most successful brass businesses in the country under the proud name of A.J. Oster. In 1978, the Oster family business was acquired by Cookson plc, a British company interested in expanding its horizons around the globe. As history soon would point out, Cookson's decision to acquire the Oster business was the most fortunate investments ever made in the 200-year history of the British company. Not only did Cookson acquire a growing brass family business, but more importantly, it acquired the services of a young man who would later be called of one of the finest business leaders ever exported to the United Kingdom. In 1991, Richard Oster was appointed Chief Executive Officer of the worldwide operations of Cookson. And since that time, the company has achieved success beyond everyone's expectations. In the past 3 years, the price of Cookson shares in the London market have more than quadrupled under Richard Oster's leadership. Recently, the Sunday Telegraph in London heralded Richard Oster as one of London's most far-sighted and innovative business leaders. Although the demands of managing an international conglomerate are never-ending, Richard Oster has always found time to help his native state of Rhode Island. In 1987, he was appointed chairman of the Rhode Island Convention Center Authority, and under his direction and leadership, the convention center, which is the largest public project ever undertaken by a state agency, has been completed on time and under budget. He has selfishly agreed to be one of the founding leaders of the new coalition of community development, which just announced its goal to stimulate the investment of over $100 million in the core area of downtown Providence. Over the years, he has also generously expanded his time and resources to help numerous Rhode Island charities and institutions such as Bryan College, his alma mater, the University of Rhode Island, Providence College, and the National Conference of Christians and Jews. In recent years, he has been one of the most generous supporters of the Rhode Island Special Olympics program. Richard Oster, a leader in the tradition of John Fogarty, a captain of industry, a leader without peer, the Fogarty Foundation has chosen wisely to present this year's Leadership Award to Richard Oster. Dick?
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished awardees, members of the clergy, Bishop, Father, my good friend Les Gutterman. I was wondering while you were speaking, Jim, I have to prepare some kind of a response to Arlene Violet. So I was wondering what, in Italian, when you talk about grandfather, it's no in Portuguese, it's vovo. If you're of Jewish descent, it's affectionately Zeta. And I used to love my deceased grandfather, Zeta Harry Leach, and I remember a story. I was with him one day, and maybe, Father, I'll use this, and Jim, I'll use this lesson from Zeta Leach to send a telegram to Arlene Violet. This man came up to her on the street. I hadn't seen him for years, and the man despised my grandfather. He was the greatest guy in the world. I loved him dearly. And he said, "Hi, Harry Leach, how are you?" And my grandfather said, "Nice to see you again, Peter." And Peter says, "You look real well." He said, "Thank you very much." My grandfather was very insincere. And Peter said to my grandfather, "Mr. Leach, I wish you well." And he looked at him, he said, "Young man, whatever you wish me, I wish you double." So I sent that telegram to Arlene Violet. Father Smith, would like to welcome you to our community, coming from Canada and from a farming family. You're now a great community, and we're very, very pleased to have you lead this university, this college. I would like to thank you, Norman, and the trustees for electing me to this most distinguished award. To follow an award given to John Fogarty is really a great thrill for anyone. He was a leader, he was before his time, and I'm sure Jim Skeffington, who worked for the congressman and knows of the contribution that the congressman made and knows of his legacy, will talk more about that, but I'm humbled and proud to follow in those footsteps. I'd like to thank all of you, particularly those who my colleagues from Cookson asked to come to this dinner. By God, we ask you to come to everything. You say yes, 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 yes. But this is something I can stand here and applaud you for responding. Thank you all very, 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 very much. And I know, is there some television program you talked about at 9 o'clock tonight? So I'll be brief, because we have a distinguished citizen of the state of Rhode Island following us in a moment, Jim Skeffington, who does so much for this community, and people don't always know about it. Maybe Arlene Violet tells stories about Jim Skeffington, but I can tell you that I'm proud to be his friend, that he's one of the finest gentlemen, the most giving people that I've met in my career, a man who's innovative, a man who creates things, and a man who gives without asking anything in return. And before he gets up and we applaud, I'm just going to applaud myself in the greatest humility and respect for a man who I admire and who I'm very, very proud to call my friend Jim Skeffington. And Kacheri, being I've gone over to London, I got my heavy suit on, I flew in overnight. Don Kacheri really exemplifies, and Sue Kacheri, what's great about Rhode Island. I know Bishop, he's going to make a tremendous pledge from Cookston, America, to St. Joseph's Hospital and the diocese. I know, Father, that even though he went to Brown, his adopted school is now Providence College. And I know Rabbi would try like hell to convert him. We're not doing too well, but he might make a small donation to you as well. But Don and Sue really exemplify as well what is nice about people who really care, and that's what all this is about. It's really about values, isn't it? It's about values of family. I remember when I was a boy, I grew up on Willard Avenue. My colleague, who was my roommate in school, Larry Roach, lived in an apartment above. It was a time when people of ethnic values, and we talked about that a little earlier, Anthony. We talked about people who cared about one another. I remember, Mother, when my grandmother, your mother, and my grandfather would take people in who came over as poor immigrants. I remember when people didn't put older people in nursing homes because it was too difficult. I remember when people really cared, and that's what it's all about. And Don, you and Sue exemplify what's good about people, and you people here tonight, by the love that's been talked about by our previous speakers, the love of other people who are less fortunate than we are, care, and I love you for all of that. I think if I could give back anything to the community, it's really the humble and cherished values that were given to me by a family. Mother, the values of caring for other people, the values of giving to community, the values of caring for the less fortunate. And the fact that you're here tonight, and this is the biggest audience in the history of this event, it's raised the most money, it's only the beginning. We'll only be happy, Father, unless you build a new gymnasium, when we outgrow the rest of it, and we double the price and get more people even here than we have tonight. Let's really root for that. You know, I remember the Fogarty Center when I was a kid, back in the 60s, when President Kennedy died. A program was started, I've asked around, none of you really remember, but it was called The Flame of Hope. And the mentally retarded were making candles, they were having a problem. The problem was the hot wax would dip on them. And I was a kid, and I said, come on, let's find a solution to it. So we invented a machine that they could turn in a remote fashion, and the wax would come down in the candle would glow and grow, and the people could make a flame of hope. Tonight, let's all just say to ourselves, let this night be not just another dinner in Providence, Rhode Island, at a very famous college. Let's make it a night when we, from our hearts, rekindle the flame of hope, the flame of caring for one another, the flame of family values, and the flame of giving. That's what's really important in the end. The measure of man isn't his position or how much money he makes, but it's really by how much he cares. I care for all of you. When I'm over in the UK, I miss all of you. I miss all my colleagues. And God bless you all. I love you, and thank you very, very kindly for this wonderful honor. Thank you.
Before we talk about Jim Skeffington, I would like to introduce his wife, Barbara. Barbara, would you stand, please? Dedication, in whatever charitable organization Jim is pursued. Jim is a trustee at the Women's and Infants Hospital, trustee for the Providence Performing Arts Center, a trustee for the Rhode Island Dental Foundation, a trustee for the Georgetown University Law Center. He's a member of several other organizations, the President's Council at PC, the President's Council at that other college up in Boston, Boston College. That's the Jesuit college, Father. Jim is very, very involved at Boston College. It's amazing to think what Jim has accomplished in 21 years. He's taken this foundation from $0 to $1 million foundation. We have $1 million endowment, and annually we give out $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. It depends on how much we earn on our endowment and how much we make on our biannual dinner. But to have $1 million endowment is just unbelievable. And you know, Jim has been around before. I think Jim and the bishop are second time around people, because you talk to them and you can just tell that they've been around before. Jim was up in heaven, and he was walking down the corridor, and he ran into the bishop, and he said, "Bishop, I didn't know you were here." And the bishop said, "Jim, I didn't know you were here." So the bishop said, "When did you get here?" Jim said, "I got here yesterday." Jim said to the bishop, "When did you get here?" He said, "I've been here for 2 days." So Jim says, "Why don't you come into my room?" So Jim takes him into this lavish room. His lifestyle didn't change from here to heaven. He had this huge room with leather chairs, oriental carpets, huge fireplace, hardwood floors, and the bishop said to him, "Jim, this is your room?" Jim said, "Yes." He said, "How many people do you share it with?" Jim says, "I have it alone." So the bishop says, "I can't believe it," he said. "Why?" Jim said. "Well, he said, they got me in a smaller room with 50 other bishops." So Jim says, "Well, I don't know, this is where they sent me." So the bishop left with a little bit upset. He went down, he went to St. Peter. He said, "You know, St. Peter, I'm a little bit upset." St. Peter said, "What's the problem?" He said, "Well," he says, "I just ran into Jim Skeffington in the corridor. And he invited me into his room. And he took me into this big plush room. Leather chairs, oriental carpets, fireplace, hardwood floors." He said, "And with me, you put me in a room with 50 other bishops half the size." And he said, "I feel that, you know, I've served God all my life, and I've served well, and I appreciate you welcoming me in the kingdom of heaven, but I'm really upset with this." And St. Peter says, "You know, Bishop, you have to understand." He said, "I get several bishops up here, but very few lawyers." At this point, I can't say I think I've covered really that Jim Skeffington and the Johnny Fogarty Foundation are synonymous. They are, he's a dedicated person to the foundation, and it's a privilege for me as chairman to have the opportunity to present the humanitarian award to a dear friend, Jim Skeffington.
Thank you, Norman. Bishop Gelano and Father Smith and distinguished guests at the head table, ladies and gentlemen and friends of the Fogarty Foundation. I'm very proud to receive this award. I'd like to thank the trustees for this great honor, and I'm very grateful and proud of the tradition of the foundation and all it's accomplished over these years. And I'd just like to report that receiving an award of this nature can be pretty heady stuff. I mean, humanitarian award. I mean, Ali and Violet would, I'm sure, commenting on this soon, but the fact of the matter is, I don't have difficulty in this regard, because in my household, humility is very important. When I went home and told my wife, Barbara, that the foundation had selected me as the recipient of a great award, the humanitarian award, she said, "That's wonderful, dear. Look, the trash has to be taken out, and I want it out in the next half hour." And when you're out there, you should look at that garage. You haven't cleaned it in a while. Well, I didn't take that. I called my daughter at college, and I explained to her that I was getting this award, and I wondered whether she'd like to join me for dinner on September 29th. And she said, "Oh, Dad, come on, no one would give you an award." She said, "But I'll go to dinner with you anyway." So I have Erin here tonight. And not to be too upset by that, I called my son, who was studying over in Scotland at the time, and I said, "Jim, hope you're going to be home on the 29th of September. I'm receiving this great award. The foundation has honored me with the humanitarian award." And he said, "Oh, great, Dad. Is it a roast?" And after listening to some of the speakers, I think it is. I didn't know it. But I am especially honored to share this evening with such a distinguished array of individuals who are certainly far more deserving than I to receive an award. Chris Burke, a man of enormous talent and heroic achievement, is the type of person that John Fogarty would have been especially proud to have his foundation honor and celebrate his professional talent and his determination. Arthur North, a true worker in the vineyard, who for years has demonstrated on countless occasions his love for retarded citizens. He has been one of the most successful and eloquent advocates for retarded citizens in the state for years. My good friend Bill Nero is also richly deserving of this award. He has not only been a tireless worker at Providence College, this great university, but he's also been a great friend of retarded citizens for many years throughout the state. And what can I say about my dear friend Dick Oster? If ever there was a leader in the tradition of John Fogarty, it's Richard Oster. Fortunate we are as a community to have a claim on this man's enormous talents. Over the years, he has demonstrated time and time again that no matter how busy he may be, no matter where he may be located in the globe, he always has time to help the less fortunate, especially in Rhode Island. When I think of Dick Oster, I think of how much John Fogarty would have enjoyed his unfailing heart to help others, especially others in need. If I may take just a moment to reflect on my 20 years with the foundation, it was in 1966 when the late Congressman Fogarty asked me if I'd be willing to serve as a trustee on a new foundation that he was planning to help retarded children. On January 10th, 1967, not just retarded citizens, but citizens throughout the world who care about others, lost their most eloquent spokesman. John Fogarty cared more about other people than he cared for himself. His life was filled with accomplishment and fulfillment, but his greatest love was to help those who were retarded. When I think of John Fogarty, I think of the noblest man I have ever met. God made only one man of that talent. William Shakespeare once said of another heroic character, "His life was gentle, and the elements so mixed in him that nature might stand up and say to all the world, 'This is a man.'" John Fogarty was that kind of man. His life was a model of leadership and commitment. His life, this foundation, these awards are all about caring, about loving, about making commitments to help friends. John used to say, "A retarded child is everyone's friend, and you will never, ever have a better one, a more forgiving one, and a more loving one." As I look around the room tonight, I am so pleased to be among friends who have gathered not so much to honor us on the dais, as much as to continue the labor of love to help the retarded in this state, to continue the effort so boldly begun several decades ago by John Fogarty when he founded this particular foundation to help these special children of God, to give hope for those afflicted, to give a chance, an opportunity for retarded citizens to live a more fruitful and fulfilling life. The poet Frank Dempster Sherman said it best when he penned these lines, "It is my joy in life to find, at every turning of the road, the strong arm of a comrade kind to help me onward with my load. And since I have no gold to give, and love alone must make amends, my only prayer is, while I live, God, make me worthy of my friends. May our friendship with retarded children never wane, never tire, and with God's help, may we always be worthy of their friendship, and may we never let the dream of John Fogarty fade in our hearts. I thank the foundation for this wonderful honor. I'm very grateful.